All right, welcome back to the Chase and Big Joe Show, live at the Omni Nashville Hotel in downtown Nashville. Chase McCabe off today, Dr. Crane with me. Let's get right to it. We wait all week for this guy because he's simply the best. Let's bring in ESPN's Tim Hasselbeck to join us. Tim, good afternoon, my man. How are we?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I will tell you, I was in a chicken restaurant in Hattiesburg, Mississippi on Friday while my granddaughter played, and I'm watching you on ESPN, and I'm thinking, isn't life great? Tim Hasselbeck, my granddaughter, chicken. I mean, it was the best day, Tim.
I'm sure it made your year. I'm sure you needed to see me, I'm sure.
I told my granddaughter, I said, look, sweetheart, that's Tim Hasselbeck. She's like, that looks like Grandpa. I'm like, no, stop it. Tim, let's start off with free agency yesterday. Let's start with something that probably not you think where I'm going to start. Mitchell Trubisky coming in as the backup. I love it. You've talked about being a coach on the field, knowing the system, and I think the Titans got that Mitchell Trubisky. Do you like that signing?
I do. I think, we've talked about, where they stand with Will Levis. It obviously gives them a bunch of flexibility there. You're not paying Trubisky. If you just look at the money, if they kept all three quarterbacks, the money that's being, spent at the quarterback position is certainly, not a significant amount when you consider a rookie deal, or really two rookie deals, and then Trubisky in a backup role. So it gives you flexibility on, Will Levis and, the ability to trade him. If it also brings in, somebody that's worked with Brian Daboll, and so is going to, have a knowledge of the offense, has been around the league enough and been a starter. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it was a good move. And I think, much like a lot of players that the Titans decided to sign, there was a history with, coaches, which usually is a good sign.
Tim Hasselbeck's on the line with us here on the Chase and McJoe Show. Tim, they let me out of the crate today. I get to ask a few questions here and there. Looking at the Titans' potential sign, going to be signing tomorrow, but Wan'Dale Robinson, we just got done talking with Jim Wyatt, and I asked him, are the Titans, you think, done at that position? He kind of went to say no. They might still be a little active there. Where do you see, the fit of Wan'Dale Robinson in this offense, along with potential moves in the future?
Yeah, I would not think that they are, done addressing the position, just because I don't know that it would come across as a position of just, crazy strength, and I think they want to, put people around, the quarterback in order to have success. Now, I think Robinson's a really interesting player. We talked about him last week. He's small, and it's hard for guys to make it in the league if you're small. But at I think he had like nearly 140 targets a year ago, 90 catches, 90-plus catches. I think where he fits is he is a guy that's really good inside, really good, on throws around the line of scrimmage, good with the ball in his hands, and maybe just a little bit better than you would think that he would be playing outside, tracking a football, stuff like that. So, I think that when you sign a receiver like him, there's clearly a role. There's clearly, an area that, they would like him to major in. It's no different than Danny Amendola or Wes Welker or, some of these guys that play in the slot and just, gobble up, catches. But, you need 90 catches to go over 1,000 yards. So that would be one of the reasons I think that they'll be on the market for an outside receiver, for bigger receivers. But the fact that Brian Daboll so quickly in free agency wanted to add him after, just being with him, I think speaks to, what he thought of him as a player in his time in New York.
And then what do you think about Daniel Bellinger, another Giants guy coming with Brian Daboll to Nashville? It just seems like he fits his scheme and just the way I guess he'll be able to open up Wan'Dale Robinson in the open field. Is that kind of the true assessment there?
Well, and I think, he's, 6'5", 255. He's going to be probably more, considered as an inline, blocking tight end. Right. but was, more than serviceable in the passing game. And so, I think what you have there is kind of a true tight end. And, similar thing, those guys are hard to find. So when, you have experience with somebody like that you feel like, look, he can put his hand on the ground, he can hold up in the run game. We certainly, view him as adequate or better in the passing game. I think guys like that, you can see them latch on and, end up playing for a long time when a coach, kind of knows their skill set. So that's how I would see Bellinger.
Tim Hasselbeck is with us from ESPN here on the Chase and Big Joe Show. Titans went after two cornerbacks, Alante Taylor and Cordell Flott. Tim, I really like the Flott signing because the Giants desperately wanted him back. And I guess Robert Saleh said, look, we're building something pretty cool down here in Nashville. I want you to be a part of this. They kind of took him away. I think he's a good corner, and I think that really says a lot about Robert Saleh's building here, Tim, in Nashville.
Yeah, and, Flott's over 6 feet tall. Taylor's 6 feet tall as well. I do think that there is there are certain coaches that really, really, tend to like these corners that have length. And, I think it's one of the reasons Tyreek Woolen, from Seattle is one of those guys that I think the market, was going to be strong for him, which clearly it was. And Saleh fits that mold. I mean, there's a reason that, when Saleh was in San Francisco, they went after Richard Sherman. And so, I think anytime there's a clear identity and direction and you feel like, or at least it appears that you're executing on that, with people that that your coaches have been around and it's happening quickly in free agency, that feels like an encouraging and good sign to me.
Tim, the Arizona Cardinals re-signed James Conner and Tyler Algier from the Falcons. And, they go at 3, Titans at 4. So they might not be drafting a running back there. With the Titans and these free agency moves, is that leaning towards maybe taking a Love because they didn't address certain parts of that? Or can you not read anything into free agency and what a team does?
No, I think you can read into free agency. I look, most of the time the good teams, the puzzle pieces make sense. It's when free agency and the draft don't align that it seems crazy. I mean, think about the Falcons. Falcons with Kirk Cousins, and then next thing you know, Penix. It's like,
right.
Wait, and they got a lot of heat for it, and it didn't work out. And so, I do think that. Look, the moves Arizona has made would make you think that, running back would not be the direction. Re-signing James Conner is one thing. The Algier signing because he's, a little bit younger and all of that, that to me felt like, okay, maybe you aren't going to be in the running back game. So I do think that it is a path to, getting a sense of, what a team might do in the draft. And, I think that when you look at, look at Pittsburgh, I don't think there was any question that they operated last year through the offseason. So through free agency and the draft, they operated as if Aaron Rodgers was going to be their quarterback, right? That's so
right.
And ultimately, that's what ended up happening. But I think it's because they knew that was what was going to happen.
Tim, is this Titans – I know it's hard to kind of quantify and look at it right now, but is this Titans team better right now than it was in 25? I know they haven't played a game, but talent-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that. Look, you've added a proven wide receiver. Robinson's a proven player and was going to generate, plenty of interest. Bellinger – I think it's fair to say, is like you signed your starting tight end. Jermaine Johnson is, he's proven to be a really, really good pass rusher. John Franklin Myers has been a proven pro. Then, we just talked about, the length at corner. So, I think that it's more than fair to say on paper, it feels like the Titans have improved quickly in free agency. And I'll say, and maybe I shouldn't have been, but I think I was slightly surprised at how, quickly they were moving to sign the guys that they did.
Gosh, I've never heard that before. Yep, you're right. All right, we'll take a break. Tim Hasselbeck is with us. We'll come back with more reaction to NFL free agency that's underway. We're live at the Omni Nashville Hotel in downtown Nashville, right here on 102.5 The Game.
Back here on Chase and McJoe Show, 102.5 The Game. Great on here with Tim Hasselbeck. Tim, just a little bit more on the Titans here. They're roughly around $44 million left in the cap. Yesterday we were having the conversation, I think Joe brought up about Trey Hendrickson, and I kind of disagree with him on this. Like, if the Titans were to pursue an edge rusher like that, it would kind of put them in the Super Bowl-esque conversation. Like, to me, I think if you go grab a guy like Trey Hendrickson, that's saying to the rest of your roster and franchise, we're going for it. I don't think he'd be like the right fit for the Titans, but say if they did grab him, what would be your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Hendrickson is a great player, and the fact that he hasn't signed with anyone, I think, is a little bit surprising to me, because I would have thought after the Crosby trade that kind of the edge rusher needy teams would have been quick to get something done. I mean, I could see. I could see the Colts being a team. I could see the Cowboys being a team. I think there are places that, would be in the mix for him. So now I do think that, Jermaine Johnson is, probably the reason that they won't be in the Hendrickson mix, but. Right. I think he's going to end up somewhere making a team significantly better as long as, he doesn't have any injury situations, like he did this past year. Because if you just take out this past year, I know that's a big if, and you just look at like the previous 7 years, he basically has been as good as any pass rusher in the league over that stretch. And, that's saying something when you're talking about guys like, Watt or, other guys that, were double-digit sack players. That's who Hendrickson has been.
Yeah, and to add on to that, kind of already mentioning the rough cap that the Titans currently have is around $44 million. Where else do you see the Titans kind of checking off the boxes when it comes to this roster construction before the draft?
Yeah, I think, like we said, I think receiver, can still be addressed, and there'll be, kind of another wave of receivers that I think, can be looked at. I do think, offensive line is going to be something that I'm guessing at maybe multiple points in the draft, get addressed. So that's what I would feel like in terms of the priorities. And then I would also say this. I do think that, while we've seen teams make big splashes or been quick, in free agency, and sometimes those things have worked out, other times, they haven't. Every year there's also the, I almost want to characterize it as, the Kyle Van Noy signing, where it's, it's late in free agency, maybe even into the summertime. You sign a veteran player, it does not make huge waves, but then when you look at a team season, you're like, that guy has been as vital and critical to the team's success as anybody. And I think that, that's going to be the case for the Titans. That's going to be the case for other teams as well, in terms of, signing a player late in the year that doesn't make the big splash, but does have the big impact.
Tim, as a former NFL quarterback, I yesterday when Tyler Lindenbaum signed with the Raiders, people were like, I can't believe you're paying a center that much to a young quarterback team. Tim, how valuable is a good center to a young quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge because one of the biggest difference between the college game and the pro game, and we've talked about this, over the years, is just what gets put on the quarterback from a mental perspective once you get to the pros. So there basically are no mental plays off when you get to the NFL. And that's in the run game and the passing game. It's just, from a protection standpoint as well as a read and coverage standpoint. And so the more help that you can get from your center on those things, the better. Because sometimes you might get up there and get it wrong in the run game, but if you have a center that knows what they're doing, a lot of times they can help you. You know, a little bit of communication back from the center to get into the right play, that's a big deal. And so I think between that and then beyond it is just the leadership and the communication that happens from that position to the group, for the quarterback is a big deal also. So I don't think it's an accident. I definitely think it's a plan. You know, we're talking about, do free agent, moves kind of give you a glimpse into, the draft plan. I think for Las Vegas, that's definitely the case.
It happened this weekend. Max Crosby going to the Ravens for 2 draft choices that the Raiders get back in return. I like the deal for both sides, Tim, and obviously it benefits the Raiders. They get that capital, but the Ravens get a guy who's just a relentless pass rusher. What were your thoughts on that deal going down?
Yeah, I think I like it as well because if you're Baltimore, it's more about right now than the future, which is why a proven 28-year-old pass rusher probably is better than a few first-round draft picks. What I would say is, I do think it gives you a glimpse into the feel like you have to win now, culture that you have in Baltimore. If you move on from a Super Bowl winning coach, you make that move. I don't think that anyone is going to be okay with, having Lamar Jackson and, the coach and not having success. And so I do think that, basically saying, look, we're not worried about future draft picks, not even in this year's draft, as much as we are about helping our team with a proven player. It just tells you, like, they know they need to win because if they are not a playoff team, I think there'll be a lot of pressure early in Baltimore.
Oh, absolutely. Seattle not resigning Kenneth Walker. I know Zach Charbonnet's got the knee injury. Are they doing the same model, Tim, that the Patriots at Belichick keep a few core guys, let your other guys leave and go get monster contracts and just have faith in your scouting and your GM that you can find guys to replace? It seems like they're doing the same model that the Patriots did, which worked great for the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, look at that position, for sure, that's what they're saying. And I think because the market of running backs, kind of, was what it was, I think they probably were like, and let me just back up a little bit too. Look, there were a lot of people that felt like Charbonnet just was the better back throughout the year. So when that's the case, I think they look at, the position and say, look, we don't need to chase a guy who, got on a hot streak late in the year. And so if people want to jump out there and sign him, then fine. Now, I've been a little bit surprised at how the rest of the market has looked. Breece Hall trade, Isaiah Pacheco signing today, it looks like. Travis Etienne, who I was not surprised there was a market for him, but it just feels like the running back activity has gone much faster than I was anticipating it going. Now, look, there are going to be other running backs, right? Like there's, Najee Harris is kind of in a unique situation. Joe Mixon, because of his foot, people may stay off him a little bit, but Raheem Mostert's been a good back. You guys remember Jeremy McNichols. I don't think that he's completely done. Miles Sanders, I think, can certainly be a guy that helps, a team's roster. So, there are, there are going to be other backs that are still out there. People feel like you can draft running backs. Guys will end up getting cut in camp because there's a younger, less expensive option. And so I can't say that I'm shocked that Seattle wasn't quick to bring back Kenneth Walker. So, and look, it makes sense for Kansas City. They've neglected the position for too long, and they needed to get better production.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right. Tim, looking at just the rest of the NFL, especially out west, Mike Evans signing with the 49ers. Joe and I were talking a bit about this in the first hour about, local product Jawan Jennings. What does that do for his market? Does that increase his value or devalue him a little bit?
Well, a place that you would think loved him, I guess maybe not being sure that they would want to, also pay him on top of paying Mike Evans. So I think it would be hard to argue that it's helpful to Jennings. Look, we were talking about the Titans. I'd love to see the Titans in the Jawan Jennings mix. You talk about, a player with, a much bigger catch radius than the guy they just signed, guy that's been, productive playing inside and outside. I think I would say I'm a little surprised that, he's not a first day of free agent signing because of how good that he's been. So I would anticipate that his market is still going to be very strong. And I would say if I was, kind of handicapping things going into free agency, I would have gotten, I would have got the timing of how it was going to go down for him incorrect.
And then sticking with the wide receivers, it looks like New England has their wide receiver one in Romeo Doubs. According to Jordan Schultz, he said Doubs is signing a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Patriots. And then there was an updated number at 4 years, $70 million. Does that, I guess, mean A.J. Brown's off the table for Mike Vrabel?
Probably so. I would say, especially if, the asking price from, which has kind of been reported a little bit, through Schefter, at least intimated. I think when you look at, some of the trades that have happened and, the price tag, look, it basically was sounding like it's at least 2 firsts, for Philadelphia to move on, from A.J. Brown. And look, we just saw it with Crosby, but I think when you're talking about 2 first-round draft picks, I do think that, you definitely have to have kind of things aligned correctly in terms of a team that really needs to just pay the price and know that they're paying the price and being aggressive for now rather than having an eye to the future. But, look, when you talk about A.J. Brown, I'll go back to, Jennings. Like, how about Jennings, potentially, in New England? Or like, I do think there are other guys. Another player that I think is a very good player that I think could be in the mix in Tennessee or elsewhere is Darnell Mooney, from Atlanta. I think that the quarterback playing in Atlanta is kind of, stunted some of his opportunities. He's just 28 years old. He's a player that I think that, I'm surprised there's not a better market for. So, look, there to me, I feel like there are some pretty good wide receivers still out there, and then by most accounts, pretty strong receiver class in terms of the draft. So, I think we're going to see a number of teams make some moves on the wide receiver position.
Tim, Tua landing in Atlanta, do you like that move? And what does that say about their confidence of Michael Penix Jr.?
I mean, I don't like the move. I feel like, to me, it overstates their confidence in Penix because Tua really has not been great. When you just look at what the market might be for some of these other guys. Like, look, what happens, Murray, Daniel Jones, you saw Geno Smith move. I think all of those guys I would prefer over Tua. The price tag on those other guys is not crazy. So I don't love it. I really don't. And, both guys have a bad injury history. I'm quite frankly really surprised that happened as quickly as it did. And I don't know that it's a good thing.
I like your opinion. Before we go, Tim, our question of the day is, have you been in a driverless car, and what was your experience like?
Yes, in Phoenix, I was in a Waymo, and I was generally fine with it. But then the next day, somebody told me that they were in Phoenix, going to the Phoenix airport, and the Waymo was taking them to the airport, and then there was some type of glitch that it just kept circling the airport, and they weren't able to get out, and they missed their flight. So, I don't know. My experience was good. This other person's not so much.
Yeah, that's our discussion. No,
yeah.
It's about 90%.
Do you have feelings about it, Joe? I feel like this is something you have some feelings about.
I haven't been in it, but our text line is about 90% negative. Like you talk about,
really?
like
why? Why?
Just the experience. It gets stuck in traffic. It won't merge. Other cars honk at it. It slows down. It's just not. It's just different.
And Hollywood stops at a red light. Like that's a problem, Tim.
Well, and I would tell you. See, what I like is I don't have to talk to anybody when I'm in something. Like I'm not one of those guys that when in an Uber, like I select a thing like I'm not looking for a conversation. So like I'm good on like the driverless thing because I know I'm gonna have to talk to anybody. Now the uneasiness of like, what do you do? Would you call like customer support? Like, and if it's not stopping, like I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old. I got to figure that out.
Well, I'm with you. That was the thing that somebody said that one of them got a ticket and a cop walked up to the driverless car and rolled the window down and they called tech support and then the cop had to write a ticket to the company. It's just all weird.
And what happens to the driving record?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. This is actually leading me to the thing. I don't know if you've seen this little video out there. It's ironically an AI-created video, but it basically is like, are we really making progress? And it has all these kids talking about life in the 90s, right? Like,
yeah.
And have you seen it?
I have not.
All right. When we hang up, I'm going to send it to you. You can point your listeners to it. It's really amazing. It's really basically questioning all this technology that's supposed to be moving us forward. Like, is it really moving us forward? Are we really progressing? Driverless cars might fit in that mix.
I love it. All right, appreciate it. Yeah, send me that, Tim. As always, man, we appreciate you. We loved our time with you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you, fellas.
Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN, on board.
Yes.
Talking about the driverless. That's why we love Tim, man. That's good.
Man of the people.
Man of the people. All right, welcome back to the Chase and Big Joe Show, live at the Omni Nashville Hotel, downtown Nashville. SEC tournament about to roll in, starting tomorrow through Sunday. So Nashville is abuzz and ready to go. Our question of the day is, have you been in a driverless car? What was your reaction? What did you think about it? There's a lot of, like, I've had some weird experiences in the car.
Yep, that's what she said.
It's about 80-20 now that I've looked at it. So have you been in one?
No, the driverless cars, I don't intend on it either. No, thank you. I'm not going to experiment with it. I think it's the worst thing ever. It just enables society to say, hey, I don't want to drive. I'll just pay my way to go somewhere. Like, come on, let's be independent here, people. I think enabling yourself doesn't do anything good for humanity.
No, and what did Tim say? That guy, the driverless car
had a glitch.
And I'm telling you right now, if I'm in that car, it's got a glitch, I'm turning into the Hulk. I'm launching that thing 100 miles, or I'm going to burn it down.
The thing is, like, when you try to open the car, it's going to be, I'm sorry, you cannot open the door. I'm sorry, you cannot open the door. I'm like, I'm going to break the window, and I'm not going to pay for it either.
I will rip the steering wheel. I will lose I'm telling you, I'll become Bruce Banner. You will not like me when I'm angry, and I will rip that car apart.
Could you imagine if the car you're riding in has a sunroof, and the only thing you're able to open is a sunroof, and you go up, and you get stuck, it closes on you, you're like, I can't get out of here. Somebody help me.
Well,
I mean, that'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah. But you miss your flight.
Oh, I mean, that's $300 down the tube.
Because of a glitch in man.
Again, if there's a glitch in the system, Joe, that means I could probably go grab an RC car controller and hack it and then make sure your car turns into a human life RC car.
Andrew in Hermitage, Waymos are great. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to tip. Well, that's fine. I'm sure they put the tip into your bill. So
right.
But again, I just don't Yeah, I don't see that. West in Clarksville, driverless floor cleaners at stores scare me just as much as driverless cars. All right, they're Halsey rolling. You guys are great. 615-737-1025. 2076. Also rode in a Waymo when I was in Phoenix last year. It follows all the traffic laws and lets you choose the music you like. Plus, you don't have to tip. Folks, the tip is in the bill, I got to think.
Yeah, there's a service fee.
There's got to be.
A tip.
Right. I mean, you're going to tip anyway, the driverless car. Here's $5. Go out and hook up with another driverless car.
Once again, it is enabling people's mind to say, oh, I don't have to tip. Yeah, you are tipping. You just don't see it. What happened to 2 + 2 = 4 and not, hey, can you do 2 + 2 for me real quick? Can we do that ourselves?
What the hell does that mean?
Means you're being enabled. You're letting technology take your life away.
Okay.
What happened to just get in a taxi? You don't have to talk to them. Put your earbuds in,
right.
Play your own music. Is that a problem?
1382, I've never been on a driverless car, but if I did, I'll know it may not have a traffic ticket or a DUI.
I don't know about the traffic ticket.
7288, what happens if you lose Wi-Fi in the car? Can it drive?
Again.
Go 7288. We love you. That's a good one, man.
I don't know if it runs off satellite, but that might be another option.
Yeah, what if there's like a sun glare? We're doing the worst case situations here, but I don't know. I'll hire Clay, crazy Clay to take me.
And what if
can run people in the bushes?
What if the people on their phones have personal hotspots? They turn it on and it glitches the system. Who would ever thought of that?
Well, the reason we saw one, we've seen several drive by downtown Nashville.
Yep.
It's just very, very odd to see a car driving and nobody driving it.
I would love to do a test run on this. I'd love to see at least 6 or 7, maybe 8 little Waymo cars on 440. See how they manage those potholes. Do they know they're coming? Nope.
What happens when drivers yell at you? I mean, it doesn't matter, but like cut them off.
Blame him. And they pointed an empty seat.
You know what would be great if the Waymo, and I would go to Waymo if it did this. If they designed, like if you cut Waymo off, it pull up next to you, and on the top of the ceiling of the car, a giant middle finger comes out.
I was just thinking like a holographic middle finger.
And just points it at you, and that's what it is. All right, we'll take another break. We'll continue with your responses, the very latest on the NFL draft. I guess Geno Smith is going to the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
You can go home again.
You can. And again, Tom Brady gets richer and richer. Just offload him.
Yeah, right.
Because he was with Las Vegas.
We had to get rid of Max Crosby's contract.
Yeah. I mean, they collected 2 first-round picks from that. Everybody, yesterday we kind of overreacted about the Tyler Lindenbaum move. But again, think about it. You're getting 2 first-rounders in return because you offloaded Max Crosby.
Right. How is he still allowed to call football games? Everywhere I'm seeing today, it's Tom Brady's Raiders. Tom Brady's Raiders. Tom Brady's Raiders.
Well, he can't join production meetings. I think that's what the big thing is.
Boo-hoo.
But also, I'm thinking after his contract with Fox, there's definitely going to be some.
He's got 5 more years at like $50 million or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. This is the Chase and Big Joe Show. Dr. Crane live at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Back to the Chase and Big Joe Show live at the Omni Nashville Hotel, downtown Nashville. I say this all the time, and I mean this, and Dr. Crane and Chase can back it up. Our listeners all day long are fantastic, but those from noon to 3, we love you. The responses we're getting on our text line today to have you been in a driverless car are just amazing and funny, and the different experiences everybody's gotten into. So we'll read those at the 2 o'clock hour. Thank you so much for that. 615-737-1025. Have you been in a driverless car? What was your experience like? Let us know. All right, Dr. Crane, get off your chest. World Baseball Classic. I know you've been all day wanting to do this. Here's the floor. Tell us what's going on.
Thank you. The United States of America, once again, are victorious last night, beating Mexico 5-3.
By the way, greatest country on earth.
That's correct.
Us, America.
You're right. That was the first time they have beaten Mexico in 20 years. So World Baseball Classic's inaugural, tournament was in 2006. So the first year that was, invented, they lost to them. So they won last night, 5-3. They finish up pool play tonight versus Team Italy. So be on the watch for that. I think that's at 8 o'clock first pitch.
How did Skeens do last night?
Oh, fantastic.
He had 3 runs.
No, that wasn't him.
Oh,
no.
okay.
He pitched, I think, 4 innings, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, and maybe 1 earned run. It might have been 1 earned run.
Why is he so good?
Because prime example, his release point, he has 4 different pitches. I think he has a splitter, a sinker, fastball, and maybe a curveball, I think is what it is.
Okay.
All 4 of those pitches, the release point is the exact same. So when he throws a 99-mile-an-hour fastball to your chin and you don't know if it's going to be a fastball or a sinker, that's what makes him different. That's why he had a 1.97 ERA last season, and it was like the best since 1912 in modern baseball history.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I saw what he did. He bought
Air Force.
a bunch of for the Air Force baseball team to go to the game last night, and I thought that was really cool.
Well, he went to Air Force his first 2 years in college.
He did.
Yeah, he wanted to be a fighter pilot, is what they were saying on the broadcast last night. Then he ended up transferring to LSU and, wins a national title with them and gets drafted to the Pirates. And I did find it a little bit telling. He's still under contract for the next 3 to 4 years with the Pirates. And he's said multiple times in little media scrums, this is the best jersey I've ever worn in my entire career. And obviously so. It's the United States of America reading 3 letters. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a little telling because you have guys like Tarek Skubal, who is the second best pitcher in all of baseball, who is also an American, that pitched 55 pitches against Great Britain and said, hey, it's a tough decision. I would love to pitch the rest of the way out, but I need to go back to Detroit Tigers camp. He's in a contract year. He won his arbitration. So he has a lot of money coming as well.
I get it.
And I get it.
I get it.
But at the same time, when are you going to join a team that is literally the all-star team of the United States of America? Not often. So I think he's missing out on a big opportunity.
Is that catcher from the Mariners playing?
Oh, yeah, Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Really good. He got hit last night. He had a foul ball that was probably about 4 feet from staying fair and being a home run. He's just really good behind the plate, just well kept. And, again, he was calling some really good pitches last night for Paul Skeens.
Did he catch the whole game?
Yes, he did. So the guy to really talk about was Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. True 5-tool player, had 2 defensive diving plays almost halfway into the outfield and just slings it to first base to Bryce Harper. Saved easily a run or 2 when he did them in back-to-back situations. He's a great shortstop.
We explained to me what a 5-tool player it is.
5-tool player, you can hit, run.
Bunt.
Let's see. Hit, run, bunt, steal, and field. There you go.
Hit, run, bunt, steal.
Yeah.
You just made those up.
No, I'm just trying to add it up in my head.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
That was 6.
No, it was 5.
I think it was 4.
You kidding me?
I don't know. I
Look,
wasn't paying attention.
You have, let's see, hitting for power and average. You can call that for both.
Oh, hitting's hitting.
I know. No, fielding.
Like stealing is stealing.
Yeah, stealing, fielding.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, speed, obviously. Your arm strength. I mean, he's just every bit of a player.
Who's he play for?
The Kansas City Royals. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wish he played for the Cardinals, but it's okay.
All right. So when does this all wrap up? Next
March
week?
17th.
Okay. Who's going to be in the final, do you think?
Personally, I'd like to see the Dominican Republic and the United States. It's a 3-headed monster. It's the Dominican Republic, the United States of America, and Japan. Yeah. Japan has an easy pool. I mean, they play Chinese Taipei, Australia, and the Czech Republic. That's a cakewalk.
Wait, the Czechs got a baseball team?
Yeah, not as popular. They lost this morning 9-0 without Shohei Ohtani playing against them. Masataka Yoshida? No. He plays for the White Sox. He just signed with them. Munetaka Murakami, I think is his name.
Absolutely made that up.
No.
Our good friend Tommy Bryan, the legendary Hall of Fame sports writer, says hit for power, run, throw,
arm
glove.
strength. Yeah.
Hit for power, run, throw, glove.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tommy Bryan.
I said the hit for power
Hey,
thing.
man. Legendary
I'm not
Hall of Fame sports writer texts into our show.
Not discrediting him at all. I'm just
better
saying
not.
you're over here saying I was saying it was wrong.
No, I'm just saying Hall of Fame sports writer texts into the People's Show.
You think he could autograph me something?
Probably could.
Frame it on my wall?
He could. All right.
I'm a massive baseball fan. I'll do anything for
He's a big
Ron.
Dodger fan, too. So him and Jim Wyatt are buddies.
Man, they must go out and about.
Hey, your Cardinals won a World Series in 06, right? In 11?
Yeah, 06, the inaugural year of the second Busch Stadium. Or third Busch Stadium. And then they won in 2011.
And they lost in 87 to the Twins.
Yeah, they lost a lot of key playoff series the year after 2011, 2012, 2013. Mike Matheny had a loaded team that was inherited to him
What's the one that Zito, when the Cardinals up like 2-0 on them, or was that the Reds? I mean, it was the Reds. Zito came in and shut them down. And
I don't recall
that was 2012, I think.
Was it?
And the Giants won the World Series.
That's right, because Pablo Sandoval, I think, got the game-winning catch on third base.
Might have been, yeah. That's right. Look at us and our baseball knowledge.
That's how we do it.
I can tell you the 1985 Atlanta Braves lineup.
Oh, I know you can.
You don't want to know that because they were terrible.
Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. That's all I hear.
You're going to get smacked. And live on the radio.
Look, I'm with you on it.
Does he not deserve it?
No, I agree. But that should not deter you from watching baseball.
It makes me upset that he's not in the Hall of Fame. It really makes me upset. And I don't get upset about a lot of things.
Right. But, Joe, here's the thing, buddy. Here's the thing. The United States of America plays baseball tonight.
Good.
You're patriotic.
I am.
You're an American. You're a red-blooded American.
I am.
Will you be watching tonight?
I will not.
Why not?
Because there is the Preds. They're on.
They play after. This game starts at 8. They start at 9. You got an hour.
I pregame. I listen to the Chase McCabe do the pregame show. And
gotcha.
There's a lot going on. So we got it. All right, come up. Got a whole other hour. Get you the very latest NFL free agency. There's some moves happening today. We'll talk about that. Some quarterbacks on the move, this and that. We got more for you coming up next in the third hour. Live at the Omni National Hotel, the Chase and Big Joe Show with Dr. Crane today, right here on 102.5 The Game.